store. Spread love, spread truth, you know the score. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, ghosts and ghouls and creatures of all types. Even trolls are welcome too, and I will respond too. It's love, positivity, a little love helps your vitality. Knowledge never hurt no one, so spread the love and spread the truth to everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, podcast numero 4. For everybody who understands French, numero 4. So, on the agenda today, actually I have no notes. I was looking for my notepad. No notes today. So today the plan is lie out my theory of how the world works. So this doesn't cover every aspect of the world, but this covers kind of like the storyline of what happened in the Bible, what happened with the Great Flood, what are the evil and good forces and stuff in the worlds today. So where to begin? So I guess we'll go back, let's transport 15,000 BC, let's say. Now, what we're told, pretty much the only history records of that time we have are from religions, right? Now, a lot of people nowadays, I don't know if it's like we've decided science and religion are completely separate entities, and that anything in religion cannot be science, and I don't know why we've chosen to make that distinction, when I think we're at a point now with science where we could start proving a lot of the things that happened in the Bible. So, and I think to varying degrees we do, and for whatever reason, they've decided anything pre-flood has to go. You know what I mean? You look at a lot of the ancient statues, the heads are knocked off. They've, during all these religious crusades over the years, a lot of the ancient stuff has just been destroyed, saying that it was pagan gods, or, and that's how it's used in a way to conquer cultures, right? You take away their monuments that they pray at, or coffee today. Now, try getting through a 40-minute video without drinking. I did it the first time, but let me tell you, it's not easy talking for 40 minutes and not having anything to drink. Sorry, I might get sidetracked a bit here because it's pretty in depth. So we're in 15,000 BC. What the Bible tells us was going on at the time was essentially you had the angels that came down and decided our women were hot. I mean, can you blame the guys? I don't know. Our women are pretty hot. So they decide to take wives on themselves, and they create a breed of giants, like hybrid giants, and these hybrid giants start massacring everything in sight, from what we're told. Um, and also, if you look at ancient mythology and stuff, if some of those creatures are real, I think they were doing some weird ass genetic testing on animals back in the day. Um, Now, people ask, well, where is this technology? Where's the proof? Where's the tools? Where's um, a lot of it's probably at the bottom of the ocean due to the flood. Um, what's very interesting, um, if you look up pyramids in Bosnia, um, they definitely have some pyramids in Bosnia. The science community is fighting against it, but when you see footage of it, there's absolute no arguing it. I mean, and the pyramids there have been completely covered by earth and vegetation, and it's about a meter of dirt before they hit these big concrete slabs. And I mean, they're proved to be concrete. You look at them and you're like, that's not natural. There are pyramids everywhere, absolutely everywhere, across the globe, and it's very interesting. So I truly believe there was um, more of a global civilization before the flood than we're led to believe. You look at the architecture in the pyramids in Peru and the Easter Island. You look at the walls; there are joints where they have a curve, and the stonework. I mean, is just the similarities are too much. It's just to say that they just happen to think of this on the other side of the globe. No, I truly believe it was the same technology that was used to create the ancient parts of these megaliths, because that's also where science maybe has got mixed up. I would argue that they probably purposely mixed it up, but you look, especially in Peru, there's distinct different levels of construction and different quality of construction. So it's very clear that some of the work was done way earlier by different people, and then later on other people showed up and constructed on top of it, and you could see the stonework is just nowhere close to as amazing. And interestingly, the older stonework is far superior in quality than the newer, which it's like, so I truly believe everything in Peru, like all the old ancient art, stonework in Peru, Easter Island, and probably a lot of Egypt, and a lot of, if there's a belt that goes from Europe all the way to China, where there's a lot of ancient cave works, pyramids, I mean everything, and a lot of it they just don't bring up in history. But I'm telling you, when you look up some of this stuff, it's pretty amazing. Like there's pyramids in Mauritius that are aligned the same way that the pyramids in Egypt are, and similar to the way the pyramids in Peru are aligned. And they're nowhere on the scale of Egypt or Peru, but the mainstream story behind those pyramids are that they're just extra rocks that the farmers had put there. I mean, and you look at them and they're clearly not. Like, I mean, it's it really makes you wonder. So, what I believe happened is I actually believe that these other beings, whatever you want to call them, so you had Christians and stuff that we call them angels, right? Now, in other religions, I believe those exact same beings were considered God, were considered gods, and I think the reason you hear the term pagan gods were essentially um, in the Christian belief, we don't believe they're gods. We believe they were angels. So I think that has been an ongoing fight. Um, that is something that kind of drives the spiritual war. Um, so whatever these beings were, okay. So now this is very very interesting because you have um, a lot of people that believe that they were aliens. So now you have, but they're still believing in the same beings. Now then you have the Christians that believe they were angels, but they're still the same beings. Then you have these other religions that believe they were gods. They're still the same beings. So I mean, we're all fighting over. Oh, you guys are idiots. You believe they're aliens, or you guys are idiots. You believe the Bible, or you guys, it's like we're all fighting over the same thing. It's all the same. Um, it's all the same story, just put in a different way. Um, so I don't know what were these beings. I don't know. Were they angels? Were they aliens from another planet? What I find interesting is that you have so many different types of monkeys, and we're said to have evolved from apes or monkeys or whatever. Um, Now we have a lot of varying colors. People from different countries have different traits, etc. But we're all essentially the same type of human being. Um, I find it interesting that we only evolved into one type of being. Where like you would think you would see more variations of human beings when you consider how many different types of monkeys there are. I mean, that's just just an interesting thought. But um, anyway, so yeah, I think was some kind of beings, and I believe all these ancient civilizations, the remnants that we're seeing, um, the fact that we have no idea how the pyramids and all these places were built. I mean, it gives a good clue that you know maybe it's not just us losing technology. Maybe there was something else that was helping us, or so I believe that we lived alongside these beings, and then we had these crazy monuments. Now I believe at some point we these so there were said to be 200 angels originally that came down. Um, I think at a certain point they started warring with each other and creating their own tribes and own followers, and that I think it got out of control. You look at, I mean, mythology is very interesting. You look at lions with bird wings and a man head. You know, Imagine if that stuff was actually flying around the planet. It's very interesting to think. But yeah, so I think they were warring with each other, and then what the story we're told in the Bible is that God warned a certain amount of people, like Noah, and um, decided to restart the planet essentially. So he decided Noah, whatever our human being form now is was the ideal form. So Noah, take some animals, take some some good people with you, and then we're gonna wipe the planet, and then you can reseed the planet. I think there's a lot of evidence that it did happen. Now, the question is, why do they cover it up? Why do they cover it up? Now, what I think happened was they didn't wipe the planet properly. Enough people that were able to hide in caves, enough of the pre-flood craziness was able to get through. And I think the reason we have such a twisted timeline on history and there's so much that's shrouded. I think people would be furious if we knew they tried to wipe the planet. You know what I mean? I think that's what they're scared of, anyways. I mean, it's very hard to know. But the question is do these beings, are they still around? And, because we're told Lucifer was one of the powerful angels that came down, and he's the one that leads people astray and creates sin and creates all the bad stuff in our world. I mean, I don't want to take responsibility off our shoulders, because I think people can be great. We could be a very positive, loving, nurturing, compassionate, and intelligent beings, and we have the capacity to treat each other and the world around us with respect, and but there's a lot of people that aren't like that, and what is driving all these wars? What is driving when you see some companies and some people just disrespecting the earth to the point where it's like, how can you have no heart? How is this not bothering you at night? It really makes you wonder if there isn't some kind of driving force for those people, and I believe our political system, the way maybe not in Canada, but if you look at the way the political system in the States is built with the left and the right wing, and you have the left wing that's more liberal, open-minded people, and then you have the right wing that's kind of the business-minded and money first over people type thing. I believe religions are the same way. I believe that the left wing is the church. I believe the people that are actually out helping people, and I believe that there's a lot of positive to that left wing, but then you have the right wing that you don't see. The people that are work to create sin, to work to lead people astray, and that wing's supposed to be run by the devil, and it's not supposed to be attached to the other wing. But as we know, birds have two wings, and it's all part of the same bird. And it's like, how do you get rid of the right wing without getting rid of the left wing is the question. Because I do see a lot of positivity and community in church, and there's a lot of good aspects to it too. But you could really got to question what the hell this bird is up to. So yeah, I'm sure this podcast is gonna be all over the place. You guys are like, for all the conspirators out there, I'm sure you're enjoying this episode because it's like, kind of all over the place. But I figured I'd lay out the storyline, and then if I keep at doing these podcasts, maybe in a couple months down the road or something, I could go back over the storyline and see, this is where this doesn't work out, or where this. So I figured I'd lay it down, and then in the coming episodes maybe we could dissect certain parts of it. Yeah, so let's get a picture out here. My picture of the episode. My favorite part of this one is there's a little fishbowl there with the pirate ship and little fishies in it. And this one, of course, is another maze. I guess we'll get the two songs of the week out of the way too. The first song, now I'm sure just about everybody's heard this song, I have no doubt. Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. Unbelievable song. I mean, these two guys, it's like their harmonies were and this song in particular is very deep, very, very, very deep. The line I want to bring up from this song: "And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made." Now, if you're not watching this, I'm currently making the gesture of holding a phone, and I'm bowing and praying to the neon god they've made. Very interesting. I just want you guys to take a little think about that, and if you have a chance, look up the lyrics to the song. It's very interesting. Now, the neon god could be anything, but I think the fact that these devices are killing us slowly with radiation, and it's even said right in your phone, you could go into the settings and look it up. There's a legal document in there that explains that you should not be holding your phone. You should have it on Bluetooth or whatever, and hands off options. Yeah, and I think that's speaking of that, and I keep alluding to this, but look up the dangers of Wi-Fi. We have an aura, you know what I mean? We have an energy to us, and these things affect us. So when you see all the side effects that Wi-Fi radiation and cell phone radiation and 5G and all these things can cause, um, question: do you ever feel any of these side effects, or do you know people who are showing these side effects? And I think you'll find that there's good signs that a lot of this stuff's pretty dangerous for us, and you really have to question: is having the internet or having access to all this information at the tip of our fingers, is it worth the trade-off for these side effects? I don't think there should be that kind of trade-off. I think there's safe ways to get internet to people through cables and stuff like that are far safer than the direction we're currently headed. But in this song, "The Sound of Silence," it's written, this is prophecy. And they're talking about the Bible, and a lot of people out there believe that religious people always scream about Armageddon, so it's hard to say that oh, this is the one. But it kind of really has to make you question things. Is why are we cheering on Armageddon? We don't want that. I think we all have a lot to give, so I really hope we can change the narrative on that one, because I think a diversity of human beings and thought is ideas, and a diversity of colors, everything. I think diversity is a beautiful thing, and the idea of like a one world government, and everybody following one religion, and I don't know. I mean, I could see how there would be probably less fighting in the world, but I don't think that's what we want, right? I think you look at nature and it's diverse, and I think our society should reflect that. I think our diversity is what makes us beautiful, what makes us great. Next song, Tracy Chapman. Oh man, I love Tracy Chapman. Tracy Chapman, Crossroads. So I think this is a very, very heavy song too, kind of I would say religious, but I would say more spiritual, because my belief is that you don't have to be religious to be a good person or to be spiritual. And I think as long as you're looking out for others and looking out, what is your effect on the planet and stuff like that. If you consider all this stuff, I think you're doing pretty good for yourself. So I definitely believe there is a connection between all of us and the universe, and I think there is a oneness that you can seek, and whether that's what they're talking about in religion or not, I think it's there. I think religion's kind of like the shortcut, you're having somebody else sell you that spirituality or sell you that oneness, whereas you can seek it out for yourself. So just one of the verses here. All you folks think you run my life, say I should be willing to compromise. I say, all you demons go back to hell. I'll save my soul, save myself. So this really comes down to, don't let other people tell you what your spiritual reality should be. Don't let people tell you that you're an idiot for following this, or that you know. I think if you want to follow a religion, go right ahead. If that's what draws you in. I think the only person that can make you a better person is yourself. I truly believe that society is not looking out for you. You know what I mean? You have to look out for you. And I truly, really believe that. So, and that comes right back to the 5G thing and the Wi-Fi. And, I think the people that are supposed to be looking out for us aren't. The only person that can look out for you is you. And this goes for every level. This goes for spiritually. This goes for physically, mentally. You know what I mean? You have to use your logic to identify what's truth and what's a lie. You have to use, the connection to oneness is inside yourself. It's not giving 15% of your money to the church every week. All right? Now, I think maybe some of that money goes to good places. Who knows where that money goes? But let me tell you, the connection to oneness is in yourself, alright? So, I think, again, the church has a lot of good benefits, but it's not in their best interest for you to be connected to the oneness on your own, right? So I think a lot of things, a lot of skepticism of various things leads back to that, when we're talking about so here today I have this right here. It's a rose quartz egg. Now, one thing about minerals and crystals and stuff, they're said to have a lot of healing properties, and they're said to help with spiritual oneness, help with meditation, etc. I think it's a lot of this is thrown in with the same category as witchcraft and all that. I truly believe that these the skepticism is an ideal that's still lingering from when religion was running everything. So I think I personally I feel the energy off these things. So maybe it's different for everyone. Maybe you have to be in a certain mindset. Maybe you have to, maybe you have to meditate first. And I don't think enough people meditate to really take a minute, clear your mind, and focus on your breathing. It really does the body some good, let me tell you. Not only physically, but spiritually. Which is very key. I think that's something a lot of us dismiss as important. I think we have to take care of ourselves physically, we have to take care of ourselves mentally, and we have to take care of ourselves spiritually. And I think, especially here in North America, the spiritual aspect of our well-being has been dismissed. And when you have, again, with all these signals and stuff bouncing around, it's disrupting your energy. So um, take a minute, meditate. And like I said the other day, tell yourself some good things. Remind yourself how great you are, because we truly are. We truly are. Um, we have the capacity for greatness, whether or not you're living up to that. Um, don't worry about it. Don't be hard on yourself. We'll get there. It's a work in progress, small steps. Um, so I suppose that's just about it for today. Now, obviously, I didn't give a well-rounded storyline on all of this. I would have liked to maybe have some more points on it, but it's one thing I really want to let people know is a lot of this ancient civilization stuff doesn't seem like it would be very all that interesting, but a lot of it is very, very interesting. Um, Again, shout out to Graham Hancock, Brian Forrester, Foer. So replace the E and the R in Forrest, and that's how you spell his last name. And his first name Brian is spelled with an E, not an A. I mean, that guy. What he does is he plans retreats, and he goes on essentially um, research as research trips. So you'll plan a trip, a 10-day trip to, like, say, Peru, and included in the package is visits to all these different ancient places. And the reason I find it to be really interesting is that he gets guided tours of certain places you wouldn't go if you went there alone, because you wouldn't be able to afford it. But because it's in a group package, so you're really seeing a lot more of these places than you would as a normal tourist. Plus, the guy's highly researched, highly intelligent, so he has a lot of good insight on these things. And he especially goes over a lot of the evidence of them having higher technology back in the day to build these sites. I mean, when you see the tool cuts on some of these things that they don't address normally, you can tell that it was a saw. Like, there's no doubt. When you look at there's a sarcophagus that was half built, and it was the way they built these sarcophaguses back in the day is one massive stone, and then they would slice the lid off, and then hollow out the bottom piece, and then put the lid back on. So the lid and the box itself all is made from one stone, and this one sarcophagus, like I said, it was half made. So they had cut pretty much half the lid, but they never finished it. I guess it had chipped at somewhere, so they gave up on it. But you can tell that it's a saw. That is not a chisel. There's some of that stuff could have been done with chisels, but I mean, a 1,200 stone, 1,200 ton stone in Lebanon. I mean, our current technology could only move something like 350 tons. So that's almost 4 times. I mean, you start questioning, holy, what technology did they have? And if we were to believe that they built these the pyramids in Egypt using the methods that were told, with logs, That's one of the things they often show. They roll these huge stones on logs. Now, how the hell are they going to do that through sand and dunes? Are you going to tell me? Have you ever seen one of those tests done in sand? Because it's always done on flat land. They show it on either on stone or on hard ground, not on sand. Can you imagine trying to spin these huge stones on logs through the sand? You know, so I find that's kind of funny because they never show that experiment. They never show that experiment done through sand. So it's just a funny thing. So yeah, rose quartz helps bring love and helps feel love. I get great energy. I paid about, I think it was $30 for this egg. So most of these things aren't cheap, but I think not only is it a beautiful decoration, but it does help with meditation, and it does help with I get a tingly energy out of it. So I mean, to each his own. I'm sure it works and doesn't work for a lot of different people, but I think it's worth trying out. And anything, because you got to figure there's energy locked in quartz, and it vibrates right at a certain vibration. So your body is going to automatically compromise to help either tune to that frequency or tune to a frequency that, you know what I mean, that is in line somewhat. So yeah, treat your aura well, treat yourself well, look out for yourself, be positive, lots of smiles, lots of love. Um, this is another happy episode of truth and knowledge sharing and love sharing. And like I said, any comments, you guys want to hit me up in the comments down below, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up anywhere. Always happy to have open conversations, especially on this type of stuff. This is as somebody who's pretty philosophical. This is my area. I look at the grand picture. You know, I've always had a hard time focusing on small aspects of life. It's always some grand virtuoso picture that's going on. So, yeah, lots of love, and I'll catch you folks next week.